worlds. Peter Parker and Clark Kent's first job together is to get the story of a man in a yellow costume with claws named Wolverine fighting against Killer Croc. As he goes in, Wolverine tells him, "I see why you go by the name Killer Croc, because you're nothing but a crock of." And as a beam goes into a nearby cop car, the man that they arrested leaps out shouting, "Shoot!" Croc sees Clark and Peter and tells Wolverine, "Ooh, an audience! They can watch me tear you to bits!" Wolverine jumps in, "Good, they can applaud your final curtain." Both Clark and Peter say to themselves that they have to change costumes, but how can they without getting the other guy suspicious? But as the man who leaped out of the car wanders into a back alley, he discovers that he's in the one with the box. The man with the hat calls back, "Good, you're back!" And the mystery man asks, "What's the box?" "For crying out loud, boy, the fate of the world is in our hands. I don't have time for exposition." Off in deep space, Thanos is looking at his monitors as Darkseid boom tubes into his control room with a twisted smile on his face. And in the Croc and Wolverine fight, Nightwing looks down on it, seeing it. He prepares to leap into battle to stop them before they can hurt the civilians, but someone is charging up a card behind him. Up above the city, Storm sees Wonder Woman and they both question who the other is. And in another spot with lightning cracking behind them, Bane is lifting Captain America over his head, telling him, "You are weak for throwing your shield and it's your only weapon." But before he can break Cap, the shield comes back, hitting Bane in the back of the head, dropping him. Captain America looks at his fallen foe. "No more back talk from you." Over at the box, though, the lights are shining and beaming out of it, and the duct tape is no longer holding back the brothers. And even the Spectre and the Living Tribunal are feeling the effects. Down on the ground, Nightwing sees Batman, and he tells him that he just had a fight with a Cajun, and he ran off with some hairy, smelly guy. Nightwing tells him they're probably miles away now. And that's when Wolverine and Gambit race by in the Batmobile that they just stole. Nightwing asks Batman what else can go wrong, and Batman tells him to calm down, because in the Batcave, the Mole Man is walking in, and Batman is a bit more worried about where Robin went. But Tim, he's not in a bad place. He's currently sitting on Jubilee's bed as they discuss his fashion choices and how much she loves them. Down at the box, though, the light breaks through and all across both universes, everyone can finally see what's going on. The brothers are free and they are now aware of each other. And as the light shone out, these words could be heard by all of the heroes of both universes. You see, in the beginning there were two brothers. Although they could be sisters as well, they were sexless and everything in between. They encompassed the whole of everything and they entered into battles against each other, which would always end in the destruction of all of creation. And the explosion of death and rebirth, they were blown apart and their shattered existence brought on the multiverse. It took them eons to even remember that they had consciousness in this fragmented state. But as time went on, they learned and eventually learned of each other. Once again, they realized that there was no longer a me, but there was an us thing. They decided that they could not exist with their lack of uniqueness, nor was either of them whole. In their battles centuries ago, some of their fragments ended up in the other's universes, and both of them desired to be whole and unique, and they learned the futility of a head-on struggle. They put out their respective super beings to fight against each other in a war to end all wars. And the problem is that some of these champions are so powerful that a battle would continue forever with no true conclusion. So the rules are simple. You need to immobilize the other one first to win. Whichever side loses the most matches will be lost forever. And so, with every hero aware of the stakes, the battles begin. The end of the universe is to be decided, and the heroes realize what must be done. So as Shazam lands in front of Thor, they both stare at each other, and Shazam asks him, "Who are you?" "Thor, son of Odin, god of thunder. You?" "Shazam, with the strength of Hercules, power of Zeus, and speed of Mercury." "I see. Well, Shazam, there's only one thing to do for those possessing the powers of gods at this point." And they both kneel and pray. Over at Thanos' base, Darkseid is looking at the power growing in him. "A disciple of death versus a lord of destruction. Tell me then, Darkseid, would you care to wager on the outcome of this battle?" "I wager that you're a pale imitation of me, and that you will lose." Down in the alleyway, Marvel Scarecrow and DC's Scarecrow are hauling off Lois Lane until Peter Parker jumps in, dropping them both. Superman flies by scanning the ground and sees that Lois is safe thanks to this new photographer, and he wonders if he should be jealous. Back at the first fight, though, Shazam starts it off with a right hook landing with a bracow! "This is nuts! Instead of fighting, we should be finding a way to make these cosmic babies work together." Thor smacks him with his hammer. "Agreed. But if we refuse to battle, we will never have the time to research that solution." Shazam lands at the base of a Ferris wheel and Thor soars in with his hammer. He hovers above him. "I would welcome your surrender, Shazam." And then he hits the entire Ferris wheel, dropping it on top of Shazam. Thinking fast and realizing that he can't be immobilized for even a second, he calls out the magical word that grants him his powers. Shazam! And once again, Billy Batson is small enough to escape. Thor comes down realizing that he has a weaker alter ego, and Billy calls out the word Shazam! Again, so that Thor can see that it's a magical lightning that grants Shazam his powers. The lightning is something that he can control with his hammer. So he throws it into the path of the magical lightning, and the backlash throws him to the ground as well. Thor is fine, and he gets up seeing Billy unconscious, declaring, "Thor is the winner." But he has no idea where his hammer landed. Meanwhile, Wonder Woman walks up on a smoking hammer, and she reads the words written on it. "Whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor." She reaches down, wondering what worthy means, as it's a truly subjective topic, and she feels the power coursing through her. Deep down in the oceans, Namor is getting frustrated as Aquaman is straight out dodging his moves. Stay still! I can end this quickly and spare you serious harm! And Aquaman smirks at him. I would love to, but you're so muscle-bound and slow I can't help but dodging. Face facts, pointy ears, we're too evenly matched. At this rate, neither of us will land and bracoom! Namor hits him so hard he lands him out of the water. And as he swims away, I believe the word that you sought was punch. And the winner is Namor? Maybe? Over on a street, a man and his son are driving a tractor trailer down the street when they see what happens to be a tornado. To the naked eye, that's what you would believe, but in all actuality, it's the Flash punching Quicksilver. You're fast, Quicksilver, I'll give you that. In your universe, you might even be the fastest man alive. But the fastest car in the world still looks like a snail next to a supersonic transport. He runs up punching Quicksilver and catching him by the face. It's too bad that we have to be at each other's throats. We'd be better friends than enemies. And as Quicksilver is getting hit, he tries to get out the words. I have more than enough. Ow! Both. All I need is a triumph so that my universe can survive. Well, don't shoot the messenger, but your universe is in serious trouble. And at that moment, the truck begins to barrel towards them as they are in the middle of the road. It careens off to avoid them, and the Flash, being a hero, he ignores the fight and he runs in to save the man and his son. As he sets them down, Quicksilver sees his opening and he goes in for rapid punches. As the Flash is hitting the ground, he thinks to himself, what a wonderful triumph this'll be, taking down an opponent after he risked his life to save others. But that wasn't enough as the Flash jumps back up and begins to beat on Quicksilver. Almost had me there, fella. But he who hesitates is lost. The Flash then brushes off his hands, as the Flash is the winner. Meanwhile, Aquaman isn't actually defeated as he hasn't stopped moving and he gets out of the water. Up behind him is the orca that he used to bring him to the shoreline, and that's when Namor jumps in to continue their fight. Aquaman throws an unbreakable cord around Namor and pulls him down to the ground so that the orca can jump on top of him, completely immobilizing him. The true winner is Aquaman.